When I was a kid, I wanted to be Spider-Man, swinging through the city, saving people, and being recognized as a hero. I always wondered why I loved Spider-Man so much. Was it the contrasting suit, the ability to swing from heights, or something more? Fast forward to when I was 14 years old. I envisioned myself in this big, beautiful house. So I tried drawing it. And then I drew it again and again and again. I loved drawing that house. Eventually, I moved on to larger buildings. 'Cause I'm so awesome. Skyscrapers, $1 million mansions. And with all these drawings at the ripe age of 14, I actually thought I knew who I wanted to be. I was going to be an architect, leading my very own team of designers, running multiple projects per week, and making all the big bucks. Despite my conviction at 14 that I would be a Gaudi, the only similarity was that my works were also incomplete. Surprise, surprise. I moved on from that ambition pretty quickly. I now had a new ambition. I was going to be a movie director, creating the best movies. I'd watch so many movies, and eventually I started writing the plot to my own movie. This plot bled into my real life as I moved to Singapore, although I never finished it. I started writing countless short stories, analyzing the works of many directors. I'd keep all of my analysis in a little small journal just to see how the movie performed so that I could make the perfect movie. I was so confident in myself. My confidence actually led me to a summer course at Oxford. Over there, I learned how to direct and I learned about film. So I acted and directed in a short film there. And when I came back to Singapore, I tried creating my own short film. Although I got further into the process this time, still left it incomplete. The struggles of examinations had caught up with me. My ambitions, however, continued within the arts. I now had a dream that I would be on a big stage with my own band. I wanted to do music. This called out to a passion which led to me picking up the guitar. I would practice with my friend every day during lunch. We would cover multiple songs. I was so passionate about music, but I never wanted to pursue it professionally. I see now, looking back, why so many of us dismiss these childhood ambitions. Yes, unlike becoming Spider Man, these dreams were possible. So why didn't I go for them? Sincerely, dreaming to be an architect, director, and musician all within just 2 years. It's clear that these dreams were just a phase. By a show of hands, how many of you have had some sort of crazy, unrealistic dream? Well, I'm glad to break it to you. You are not alone. We've all had a crazy dream like that before. But here's the thing, these dreams aren't an exact map of our future. They don't always mean this is the job I'm going to have one day. More often, they're just reflections of who we are in that moment. Next year, I'm going to be doing national service for Singapore. When I was told I got to choose which vocation I would like to do, the first thing which came to my mind was being in the police force. I had this overpowering desire to want to help people, for people who really needed it. So take a look at my dream of being Spider Man. I couldn't actually be Spider Man, it wasn't possible. But I could be a policeman, somebody who still embodies those values and beliefs that Spider Man has. The reason why I admired Spider Man so much was because he never hesitated to help anybody, regardless of what he was doing. And that's what I wanted for myself. Not the powers, but the purpose. In a way, dreams are symbolic. But that doesn't mean they're any less important. In fact, childhood dreams, they can shape the way we see the world. My dreams of being an architect. I didn't want to be an architect just because I liked buildings, but because I enjoyed the process of creation behind those buildings. I didn't want to be a movie director just because I liked movies, but because of the process of creation behind those movies. And I didn't want to be a musician just because I liked sounds, but because I liked the creation behind that music. So as you can see, creation has been the core part of me and my identity. So what are my ambitions right now? At the moment, it's global politics. It sounds so orbit, I know, but please bear with me, okay? At first, I had no hopes for this subject. I thought it'd be another subject, and I was wrong, okay? I was actually so annoyed because now my parents would encourage me to take global politics in college, leading to a 9 to 5 corporate job. I'm not saying that's bad, it's just not what I want. But as the course continued, I started learning about disparities around the world. I started learning about people who were suffering, people who didn't even get their basic necessities. And I knew that was wrong. Then in later classes, we started learning about solutions to these political challenges. And that's when I realized that this course meant so much more to me than I thought. With global politics, I would learn to live as a globally aware and sensitive citizen. And so I finalized my decision for now that my true ambition is to go into international relations. I found the reasoning by going back to my original dreams of being an architect, director, musician. All of them entailed creativity. And with international relations, I would be creating the foundation of a society where people can live with equality, facing the right justice systems and getting their necessities. And so I solidified my belief. Childhood dreams are important. They do contribute to who we are. And that's why it's important to cherish and nurture them. So I'm not here standing in front of you today to talk about my story or my commitment issues, but I'm standing on this red dot today in order to defend the reputation of every child's dream. When we're young, we're full of dreams, some wildly unrealistic and others more grounded. But here's the thing, society tends to dismiss both. The unrealistic ones are the first to go. The minute a child says, I want to be a princess when I grow up, adults will just laugh it off and say, that's cute, but you'll grow out of it. What this does is it discourages the child. It makes them feel shallow to an extent. And more than diminishing their imagination, we're diminishing the true meaning behind the dream. Real possibilities are brushed aside. Psychologists have studied this. The social investment theory describes the change in the mindset of a child when they become an adult. They start to adopt the societal roles that are provided to them. And in that process of adopting these roles, creativity fades. Something happens in the mind of the teenager. They start losing aspects of who they are. According to The Source, Anne V. Maggi and Stephen M. Graham, belief in their own unique ambitions begin to crystallize. They begin to fade. And they're not themselves anymore. What happens to teenagers, instead of thinking about what they could do or what they would do, like being Spider-Man, they start thinking about what they can do and what they should do, like a corporate job or working in an office. And the problem with this is that they just lose more confidence in themselves. So the real question is, should we really dismiss a childhood dream? Well, the answer isn't simple, right? It's not easy to always accept dreams. But here's what you can do instead. Rather than not listening and brushing it away the second you hear it, take a minute, listen to the child, highlight the positive traits that you can find in those dreams, because all those dreams carry a meaning. The next time a child comes up to you and gives you an unrealistic ambition, try and think of how the child could progress into a real job. Because what this does for the child is it boosts their confidence. It makes them know who they are. And so they have more concrete personal and professional goals. And here's the bigger danger. If a child grows up in a world where their ambitions are constantly being shut down, that moves into their mindset. And as they grow up into adults, when they have kids of their own, they're going to send the same message. Don't dream too big. Stick to what's safe. And slowly, generation after generation, every child, every person fits into this little cycle of conformity where imagination keeps fading and children are scared to be themselves. So the way forward isn't to dismiss these dreams, it's to find the good values inside them. That way, we're planting the seeds of innovation and creativity for the future. We're nurturing and cherishing these dreams. And when we do that, we're not just protecting their imagination, but we're protecting the future of creativity itself. So before I go, I want you to remember that ambition that you had when you were a kid. And think about where you would have been today if you hadn't dismissed that ambition. Thank you.